Hey everyone, it's James from FunFoods, and today I want to show you how to make these salted caramel peanut butter bars. This dessert is absolutely incredible, and I want to thank Georgia Peanuts for sponsoring this video, as well as sending me a package, a huge package of all the goodies, and I used a lot of it to make this dessert. So keep watching, and I'll show you step by step how to make this. The first thing we need to do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Get that ready. Next, we need a large bowl, which I have right here. And inside this bowl, I have this Georgia Grinders peanut butter. This is organic peanut butter, and I'm gonna use 12 ounces of this. And let's smell this. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. So I'm gonna use this whole jar in here. And to that, I wanna add 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 large eggs, and I'm gonna use this peanut flour here. I'm gonna use 1/4 cup of that. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and just mix all the ingredients together. I'm using a hand mixer. You can do it by hand if you like. Now just clean off your beaters. Next, I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of peanut butter chips. This is just gonna add some more peanut butter flavor to our peanut butter bars here. Now just move this aside, and I'm bringing out my dish that I'm gonna bake it in. Now this dish is a 7.5 by 11 inch dish. You can use a 9 by 13, but if you do that, the peanut butter bars will be a little thinner. I want them to be thicker, so I just have some butter in here, some softened butter. Now just take this and dish it out and spread it nice and even. Now just take this, put this in your preheated oven at 350 degrees for anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. I'll let you know at the end how long it takes mine to get done. Okay, so it took a lot longer than I was expecting, but that's what happens when you're experimenting with recipes. So it took about 28 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees to bake it, and how I know it's done, you can see around the edges, it's a little darker and browned. We gotta let this cool down completely before we move on to the next step. So for the next step, we're gonna make our homemade caramel sauce. Now, it's very simple to do this. And by the way, do you say caramel or caramel? Write in the comments below, let me know. And we're gonna start off with a large, medium-sized, heavy bottom pan. And to that, I'm gonna add 1 cup of sugar, just regular granulated sugar, and 1/4 cup of water. We're gonna bring this over to the stove and stir it until all that sugar has dissolved. And just stir this up until all that sugar has dissolved. Okay, so when you see that the water has become clear, that means all the water or the sugar has dissolved. We're gonna stop stirring at this point. Boil until you see it start to turn color. So after a couple minutes, you'll notice around the edges it's starting to turn copper in color. We're gonna add 1/2 stick, which is 4 tablespoons of butter, and whisk that in. When all the butter has melted, let it boil for about 1 minute. Now turn off your heat, and we're gonna stir in 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Slowly. All right, so after a couple of minutes of whisking, you'll notice it's still quite runny. That's okay. As it cools down, it will thicken up. We gotta add in 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, if you use salted butter, you can skip this step, but I did not. So at this point, let this sit and rest until it thickens up. When our caramel cooled down enough, I transferred it into a mason jar, and I did that because whatever I don't use, I can store and use it at another recipe. So we're gonna take this, set that aside for right now, and we're gonna come back to the same heavy bottom pan, which I cleaned out a little bit, and we're gonna add to that 2 tablespoons of butter. Bring this over to the stove, and we're gonna melt that butter down. So now just turn on your heat to medium-high and melt the butter. All right, so as soon as it's melted, we just wanna add a 10-ounce package of mini marshmallows to it and mix it up. Just keep mixing the whole time until the marshmallows become a liquid. Now we have to work quickly here. Our peanut butter base is done, and what I'm going to do is add in some caramel. Not all of it, just a little bit of this caramel. It's thickened up. That's good. A thin layer. Just spread it around. There we go. And make sure you save the rest because we're going to need that in a little bit. Now we're going to bring in our marshmallows that we melted down, and that's going to go right over top the caramel. Try to get a nice even layer of that. Now it should have pretty much leveled itself out, but you can move it around a little bit if you want to get better coverage. Now I'm going to let that cool down completely before we top it off with some caramel sauce and some Georgia peanuts. Now what we're going to do is mix in some peanuts to our caramel sauce. And I'm only going to use about half of the remaining caramel sauce and about 4 bags of these Georgia peanuts. So you can just put those into a container, and I already have some in there. Take about half of your caramel sauce here and pour that in. I'm not measuring it, but roughly about 3 teaspoons, I would guess. 3 tablespoons, more like it. And just mix this up with the peanuts. Now that those peanuts are all covered, that's good. Let's move these aside. Bring in our dessert dish that's done, and it should have firmed up nicely. And now what we're going to do is just take these and scoop some out and just spread them out. And for the extra caramel sauce, all we have to do is drizzle that over the rest. Now these look amazing. I can't wait to try it out. I'm just going to cut them up into serving sizes. All right, so now we're just going to cut these into manageable pieces. I'm going to try this with some non-stick spray, and maybe that will keep it from sticking to the knife. Well, it's better. Hard part is going to be getting these out of here. Well, now it's time for the taste test. I'm going to dig into one of these and see how it tastes. Now, just to warn you, it is tough cutting these into perfect squares because the marshmallow is so sticky. This is amazing. Now, when it comes to presentation, they may not look the best, but they taste the best for sure. So give them a try. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these salted caramel peanut butter bars. Now, these are absolutely incredible. It may not present as good as other peanut butter bars, but they taste far better than anything that you'll ever try. So trust me on that. I also want to send a big thank you to Georgia Peanuts for sending me these peanuts and a whole bunch of other products and sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more about them, hit the link in the description and learn about Georgia Peanuts. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. 1/4 cup of peanut flour. Let's do this. It's below what the way, let's try that again. Now what we're going to do, write in the comments, start over. Stir this up and bring it, transport,